一直以来很想做一些访问，关于潮流时尚。
Okay, welcome to our channel.
Thank you.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me down. It's good to be here.
Good. So please tell us about your brand.
Well, my name's Ollie Jackson. I'm an actor and a DJ, but I'm also the owner of SLIMSON, which is a brand based here out of London in the UK. And I've been doing that for 2 years now. So, relatively short amount of time as a brand owner. I've kind of loved fashion for a long time, new to this, but obviously been an actor and a DJ for a long time, and maybe tell you a little bit more about how that has influenced SLIMSON. Going way back to when I was a little boy, I was a cathedral chorister, so I sang in a cathedral choir, and that was something that I did, you know, kind of services every day. I think we'd have 1 day off a week, and then we'd do 3 services on a Sunday. So, you know, I've got an 8-year-old, I'm a 13-year-old now, but I was 8 years old when I started doing that, and that was a big commitment because I had to go to a boarding school to do that. But I suppose, sounds kind of looking at it, I think, crikey, that must have been a weird thing to do for my mum and dad to send me away at 8, but I loved it. And it was an opportunity for me to get a wonderful education at a school. And because I was a good singer, they would have, I think, maybe 18 of these choristers who would get a scholarship for the fees. And because I was doing that, I was singing and playing an instrument, and it was a really good grounding in music. And as I say, we spoke earlier about music being a really important part of my life. So it has been from being 8 years old. And I loved that. I loved the discipline of singing every day and learning to read music at a really young age, and all the travelling, and, you know, to do an album. We made an album. I met the Queen. Because we sang on a Maundy service, which is a Maundy Thursday, so the Queen came up to Ripon where the cathedral was, met her. I had loads of amazing opportunities, and I would sing as well. Sometimes I'd be like the guest soloist. I'd go and sing with a kind of choral society or an opera company. They'd invite me to go and sing. So I look back and it was kind of quite crazy and a really great opportunity. And because I did that at that age, once you're into that system, you then kind of do a music scholarship to the next school. So I sung, I played a little bit of piano, which I still do now, but I was a very good French horn player, which is kind of weird. You know, we're talking about being a DJ and house music. It couldn't be more different, really. But you know, the guy from the Chemical Brothers, for instance, I think he's the son of a vicar, and I think he was a chorister growing up. So music is music, obviously, and I love all sorts of music. But that was my beginning, and through doing that, I then went to drama school to train as an actor. So that was how that came about.
But then, how did you join the West End musical? How that happened?
Yeah, good question. So, from doing the singing in the cathedral choir, I then realised very, very different. But I realised then that, you know, you could also do musicals. So I started doing musicals at school, but I was still doing loads of sport. And in my head, I was like, you know, you can't do both. You can't be a guy in musicals, but also do sport. And as I got older, I realised, of course you can, you know. So I started looking at what opportunities there were to audition for things. So I would do school plays, school musicals. But I also did a thing called the National Youth Theatre, which was a really, really great company for kids and young adults to do shows. And so I auditioned for the National Youth Theatre. I got into the National Youth Theatre, and I would go to London probably about age 16, and I would do courses there and learn loads and loads of stuff. And that was the point that I was like, this is what I want to do for a job. And weirdly, around that time, I'd been to see the show Les Miserables with my parents, which is still on to this day. And my mum and dad had been to see that show. They brought the album back on vinyl, and I used to listen to it. And I was like, I want to be in that show. And the only way to be in that show...
Did you say so? You want to be in the show?
Yeah, always. Always wanted to be in the show. And I thought, what I've got to do is I've got to do the National Youth Theatre, and then I've got to go to drama school, which I did. I auditioned for drama school, and I did that for 3 years. But I always had one eye on trying to make it in all sorts of areas, TV, film, lots of other musicals, but to be in Les Miserables. And then eventually, I did. I got into that show, which was amazing. So I achieved that. That was a real dream of mine. And then now I have done that show in various different guises. I mean, I've done it quite recently. I did it just before the first lockdown. the big new concert version of Les Mis. I was in the film of Les Mis, and I've done the show in the West End. So that was a dream that I achieved, and I loved it. And then, yeah, so I've done lots of other musicals. You know, I've done School of Rock. I played the geeky Ned Schneebly, obviously, because being slightly not a leading man, I played that part. And I've done Our House, which was the Madness musical. That was When I Met My Wife, so that was another great show, and loads of musicals, yeah. And so, yeah, that kind of explains how I got to that point. And DJ as well, yeah.
Now you're a brand owner. Can you tell us a bit about your journey?
Yeah, well, I suppose it was really a bit of a happy accident. The reason SLIMSON came about, well, I always DJ'd as SLIMSON. So again, been DJing for about 8 or 9 years. And my initials, I'm Oliver Jackson, so it's OJ. Or not OJ Simpson, people might know of, but they were OJ SLIMSON, because obviously I'm very skinny and slim, so that was how that came about. And I decided at a record label party to do a t-shirt, which was a bit of a homage, a kind of celebration of the nightclubs that closed down that were in London when I first moved here from Leeds, and they're the ones that feature on this top here, so the Cross, Bagley's, Turnmills and the End. These are all nightclubs that no longer exist, but they were huge and very influential nightclubs when I first moved to London, in London, yeah. So unfortunately that area, well I say unfortunately, but certainly where the Cross and Bagley's used to be is now lots of nice restaurants and shops, and as London has been gentrified, those sort of places have disappeared. And as I say, I had an idea to just kind of have a slogan t-shirt that would celebrate those clubs, a little bit like you may have seen John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles names that they used to have on those t-shirts, and I thought I'll do that. Simple, lay it out like so, and I gave loads of t-shirts away at this record label party, and people loved it. And people of a certain age, I'm allowed to say my age, of 45, who remember those clubs were like, yeah, I want to celebrate that time. And so slowly but surely I started making more of those t-shirts. Again, just this slogan, just these words, and people wanted to buy them. So
do you do a lot of like different colors, or you're doing only pink?
Yeah, well this one is pink obviously. I mean, to start with, we just did black t-shirts and white t-shirts. So it was black t-shirt with white wording,
yes,
or the other way around on the white t-shirt.
Yes.
And we still sell loads of those, and they were the kind of original ones that we sold, and they still do really well to this day. And I should point out as well that, you know, at the start of this process, once I realised that there was an appetite and a kind of people were excited by this t-shirt and wanted to wear it,
yes,
I sent it to quite a few people that I know through my career as an actor and a DJ, and they very kind of would post on their socials, and so word got out that there was this t-shirt that celebrated those long lost clubs, and that was really the beginning of SLIMSON. It wasn't something that I was looking to set up. I just thought, oh actually, you know, slogans on garments are still very big today, and people watching this will know, you know, they continue to be very, very popular. I started thinking, okay, I've started with this t-shirt, what else could I do? And maybe tell you a bit more detail as how we kind of move that forward from this original idea, you know.
Is music a very important thing for you in your whole career, in your life?
Yeah, definitely. Music's been massive for me. As I pointed out, I've been an actor for, gosh, a long time, so for sort of 20 odd years and more, and I've performed in musicals, but I've always loved house music and club culture. I always went to nightclubs from being about 16. I go to Ibiza every year, and I went to all of these clubs regularly. But back in the day when I went to these clubs, I wasn't a DJ. You know, it wasn't as easy then. You know, you had to, you maybe can see here, I've got decks and I play. You used to have, you know, 2 vinyl decks, and it was kind of an expensive thing to start and a difficult thing to learn. About 7 or 8 years ago, I decided that I wanted to teach myself to play, and so I got a controller and a laptop and did it very simply. And then now, obviously, I'm much better, much more accomplished. Learned by myself, completely self-taught. And again, it was just something I felt that I could do because I love music, but also alongside my acting, I thought maybe I could earn a bit of money DJing. So, you know, played a few parties in clubs and bars, and you know, do corporate gigs and weddings and mates' birthdays, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, in answer to your question, music has always been a massive part of my life, and my kids' life, and my wife's life. And yeah, and again, that's a lot of the t-shirts and the sweats that we do. They've all got references to music and to club culture, and the 90s in particular. So,
do you think the slogan tee that will also represent not only about music but also something else, such as your memories or
yeah,
your
I mean, we
stories?
say exactly. That's a really good quote. We have loads of stuff on the website slimsonstore.com about memories that are made to last and making, you know, memories wearable. on high quality garments. So yeah, although it starts within music, we do have certain other things that, for instance, we have one of our top selling t-shirts is one that says "Music is the answer," which is a lyric from a Danny Tenaglia record. Not everybody knows that, but the sentiment of music being the answer and music helping all things in these difficult times, obviously with everything that's gone on in the, with the virus and what have you, these are kind of phrases and sentiments that I think kind of really ring true for people. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Speaking about virus, how does it affect you? Like COVID, of course. I
Well,
refer to COVID.
yeah, of course.
How was it?
It's affected a lot of people, obviously, massively, and it's affected me as an actor, somebody who performed a lot in live theatre as well as doing film and television. I've not been able to do that. So, fortunately, I've got SLIMSON. I continue to have SLIMSON. We mainly, solely, pretty much sell through online. So it's been as busy as ever for us. It's been really, really good, and I've actively tried to kind of grow things while things have been quieter as an actor. So I kind of feel positive that this will have been a good time, certainly for my brand SLIMSON, whilst things have been quieter on the acting front. You know. So, yeah.
Are you seeing any trend in these days for street fashion and things like going in this particular period? It's this pandemic, and it's also people are not as formal as before.
Yeah.
What is your feeling as a brand owner?
Definitely. Well, I mean, I would refer to SLIMSON as a street brand. Definitely, it's rooted in the street, and I think more than ever, people are going to be wearing casual stuff. People aren't going to be going to the office. I mean, I love kind of, I love to get dressed up and wear a nice suit and classic shoes and all those sort of things. SLIMSON definitely isn't that, but I think people are going to be, there'll be more and more of an appetite for, kind of a relaxed type of clothing that you can wear at home. And yeah, exactly. I mean, what we do is slightly different. My aspirations for the brand, and I can talk about that as well, are to kind of move forward with collections and things away from t-shirts, sweats and hoodies. But the stuff that I like, I think things that you could maybe wear to meetings, but also to the pub, are going to be more prevalent,
Such as pool slider?
Yeah, well, and it's funny you should say about pool sliders. Yeah, well, that's something that we're going to be doing for the first time with SLIMSON, which is really exciting. Yeah, and I think with a pair of socks, you could definitely rock up at a meeting in a pair of sliders. But yeah, again, the slogans that we've done, all our classic slogans, I refer to music as the answer. We're going to be doing on a slider, which we've kind of done a few teasers on Instagram and with our kind of followers, and people are really excited about those. And I don't think it's been done before. Someone might correct me there. But there's no denying that slogans are everywhere. I'm not saying that we're the first brand that have done this. I mean, the way we align it and this particular font is the SLIMSON font, and hopefully will continue to be very recognisable for people and they know that that is a SLIMSON product. But doing this with the slider is a really exciting development.
Looking forward.
Really looking forward to it, yeah.
Good.
And we're excited by the designs that we've come up with, and they'll be ready to go at the end of June. So yeah, looking forward to that. It's going to be good.
In all the episodes, I'm asking all the how do you call it? The
guests.
The guests.
Yeah.
I'm asking all the guests about the favorite product, like at all time. So
do you have my own product or of anybody?
Anybody.
Okay.
Just like your favorite.
Favourite thing of all time?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a great question.
It can be a watch, it can be a sneaker, it can be a pair of jeans.
Something that I own or not necessarily?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Well, my favourite brands of all time that I kind of associate with a really great time and really great things that I've still got, and I might talk about a bit more, is Duffer and St George, which I've always...
Very famous.
Yeah. Who kind of, obviously they finished, well, their story continues, but their roots were very much, it was a brand in London. They had a fantastic shop in Covent Garden that I used to go to all the time. And I was working in shows around that part of London. So this is before wife and kids, and I would spend quite a lot of money in that shop, and I used to go in, and the guys that worked in there were so cool. They were always quite approachable, but they were just so cool. And I was like, I want to be like these guys. They had a great music playing in the shop. They were very knowledgeable. They'd have guys that were down from Nottingham or the guys from Leeds, from Glasgow. They'd work in the shop, and it was just really lovely, what I would call classic garments. And I always, certainly again for me and SLIMSON, my aspirations for the brand were to reach those dizzy heights. But also the way that I choose to dress, they would, really lovely pair of jeans or, a pair of Red Wing boots that would be timeless. Some lovely sort of old US college jackets, shackets that I really love now. I think that's a good word, the shacket, which is something. But just really lovely quality garments that were really, really well made. with a kind of nod sometimes to things in Japan or maybe to America. You know,
it was quite big in Japan. I remember years ago I was in Tokyo. I saw the shop of duffers, and it's amazing. It was in Omotesando, which is like one of the very important, most famous streets in Tokyo, and they had a shop. Obviously, they had a very good presentation over there, and glad you like it. I'm sure
I loved it. And they always, as well, they would do brilliant T-shirts, because again, you know, if I didn't have loads of money, some of the stuff that would now would, you know, really have to save up to buy, because the jackets were very expensive. They would do their own jeans, which again were really well made, sort of salvage denim, but they'd also do T-shirts that might have been around, I don't know, at the time, maybe 25, 30 quid. It's quite a lot for a T-shirt then. But they would do, I've still got upstairs actually, T-shirts, you know, from the Japan World Cup. And they do it with a big Duffer slogan on the back and a, you know, kind of a badge referencing the football, and it was all so well done. And I've still got those T-shirts, you know. Yeah, maybe
for SLIMSON out in Europe.
Well, it'd be nice, exactly. Yeah, the Euros coming up, which would be amazing. So yeah, that would be, excuse me, that would be my kind of one of my favourite things. You know, I've always thought a nice pair of shoes, nice watch, nice wallet. My dad always sort of taught me those things. So, you know, I'm lucky enough to have this nice watch, which is a Rolex, and some Church's brogues, perhaps, if you're going out. Quality, you know. I'm certainly not somebody that buys, you know, fashion, dum bum bum bum, fast fashion. I've always tried to just buy those sort of key items and save up for the things that I like. And that's something that I try and, you know, stick to with SLIMSON. Although it's obviously our offering is a lot smaller. We only do, as I say, at the moment, really T-shirts, sweats and hoodies, but they're well made, and there's a real sort of thought into the detail and the quality of those garments that they really last for the customer. Yeah, so yeah.
Great. So thank you very much for your time today.
Lovely to
really
chat.
to have a chat with you.
Yeah, and you.
Good
Good luck.
Okay. Cheers.